With the new iPhone 14 just released, I thought that I would make a video not just talking about the iPhone 14, but new phones in general. But this time every year, I feel like people are always inclined to upgrade. So I wanted to try and talk you out of upgrading your phone. And I wanted to start with the fact that buying a new phone won't make you any happier. Spending money on stuff is not a great way to try and increase your overall happiness. It's not a great way to try and hide away from the things that you're frustrated about. I know that when I was younger and I was in significantly worse shape, I was like 40 to 50 pounds heavier than I currently am now. I used to buy food a lot because it made me feel good. It obviously didn't really help my problem of being overweight because the food continued to make me overweight. And I think a lot of people, especially now with the COVID lockdowns and people getting shut in and face-to-face human interaction being significantly decreased, I think that a lot of people resort to spending money on tech products that they use a lot to make themselves feel better. An iPhone 14 is just a small example of this, an iPad, Apple Watch, any new Samsung phone, any big tech purchase, I think people buy because of that initial hit of dopamine. You open the box, you rip the plastic off, you open the box up, it's really satisfying. Companies spend, I think Apple spends over $20 billion a year on R&D, and you know a portion of that money is going to making the unboxing experience as enjoyable as possible for the end consumer. So I want to let you know, as a reminder, that buying a new phone won't fix any of your problems. If you have problems, purchasing something is never the fix. If you want to get in better shape, buying an Apple Watch isn't going to make you run more. You have to just go out and run. Flexing stuff on Instagram isn't going to make you a more valuable male. You're just going to attract women that you probably don't want to attract anyways. You got to go out into the world and actually talk to somebody face to face. I still believe that that's probably the best way to meet a woman. Maybe I'm a little old school, but I know that my wife is personally a fan of that, and that's how I met her. Upgrading your phone obviously won't make you happier, but I really am of the belief that it will make you use your phone a lot more. The more attractive the phone, the more likely you are to use the apps on it. These phones are obviously designed to be used often. Apple makes money off the initial sale of the phone, but they make a ton of money on services. They have so many services, not just services that they themselves sell, like Apple Music, the Apple One program, but also every single time you make a purchase on the App Store, Apple gets a cut of that. So it is in Apple's best interest to keep you on their phones as much as possible. It's also within every company that makes apps to put on these phones to keep you on these phones as long as humanly possible. YouTube makes their app unnecessarily addictive, but TikTok is even worse. I don't suggest anybody. I understand I'm making a video on YouTube, but I really believe if you're going to watch YouTube, you really need to learn to limit it, especially because you can just get sucked in and 4 hours go by and you did nothing in that 4-hour stretch. These phones are obviously really expensive. I talked about that in the last video I made about why you probably shouldn't buy the iPhone 14, and I'll have that link down below. But suffice to say, spending a lot of money is probably not a good idea if you're not somebody who A, makes a ton of money, or B, is investing not a lot into their future. We have to remember that we have this biological program into us that we call comparison. It is a very, very extremely useful tool for people who are cavemen. If they see somebody in a cave as opposed to just sitting out in the rain, they're gonna compare their situation to that person and say, wow, I should probably find myself a cave. And then maybe they say, you know what, I can't find a cave, but I'm gonna build a hut. The person in the cave sees the person in the hut and compares themselves to that and say, wow, I should build myself a hut. Comparison is a very powerful tool. It's still a powerful tool, but comparing the things that you own, that's not necessarily all that powerful. Anybody can buy anything. As long as you can open up a line of credit large enough, you can pretty much afford almost anything. It doesn't really matter how much you make. I think a lot of people would be surprised that a lot of people that they think are doing extremely well are actually doing quite poorly, and they just take out massive loans that they can just barely make the payments on. I, for one, am of the belief that if you can afford it with cash, you just should. I understand that some people might disagree and say you should invest it and then borrow the bank's money and invest against that, and I totally understand that, but for the vast majority of people, just pay it off. Just buy it with cash. If you can't afford it with cash, you can't afford the darn device. So just because you're using an older phone, that does not make you any better or any worse than anybody else. And we also need to understand that these phones are just tools. They're not toys. I understand that most people, including myself, probably get sucked in a little too much using it as a toy, but it's just a tool. It's not something that we should spend all of our lives on. It's something that you can use here and there as a type of function for pictures and videos, calling, texting, communicating with others. But the vast majority of your time that you spend on your phone should not be on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, any of these apps. It's a complete waste of your time. Not only is it going to make you unhappy, but it's also going to take away from getting out into the real world. People need sunlight. That's why there's so many unhappy people these days, because they're not out in the sun. I know myself personally, I feel a little bit less happy during the winter. I'm out in the summer, out in the sun all the time, going for runs, doing yard work, whatever it may be. Get off your phone, go outside. Buying a new phone is just gonna keep you on the darn device too much. It's not necessary. It's not a toy. It's a tool. Use it as such. You don't use your drill too much, so don't use your phone too much. And I want to talk about how you can buy these new phones and when you should. I would say if you are really desperately wanting the iPhone 14, wait 30 days. Set an alert on your calendar, and in 30 days, decide if at that point you want the new phone. If you don't think 30 days is long enough for you to decide, make it 60, make it 90. Your phone is fine. And if you can make it another 60 or 90 days, maybe don't buy it. And at that point, you can actually decide, is this a good financial decision? You've had some time to sit on it. Was it just an emotional response, or is your phone just on its last legs? You just can't really use it anymore, so you're going to go ahead and buy the new one. And also, this patience will afford you the opportunity to get really good deals on phones. I've talked about this before, but my phone that I use is an iPhone 13 Pro. I don't even know what it is. It's an iPhone 13 Pro. It's not the big one. It's the smaller one. And I ended up getting that phone for effectively $21 because my carrier T-Mobile had a deal where if you add a line, you get a free phone. I added my sister's line. My sister and wife didn't want the phone, so I was able to get a free phone. Wasn't looking to upgrade. From my experience in my life, if you are somebody that is desperate for money, you just will do anything for money. Money is the hardest to obtain then. You'll make every bad decision. I sold cars when I shouldn't have sold cars. I sold bonds when I shouldn't have sold bonds. But when you need money, you will do anything it takes to get money, and every single decision you make will be bad. But when you are playing with house money, you don't need the money, then I feel like good decisions sort of fall into your lap, and money sort of not falls from the sky, but it falls into your lap because you can make better decisions because you're not just hamstrung by, I need to make the most money right now. And that's why I would definitely pump the brakes on buying a new smartphone. Wait 30 days, wait 60 days, wait 90 days, because these smartphones will still be here for you to buy. Nothing's going to change. The only thing that might change is the price will go down. But I promise you, if you wait 30, 60, 90 days, you're not going to be any less happy. You get off your phone, you might even be happier. So thank you guys for watching the video. I appreciate it. This channel is going back exclusively to tech content. I'm going to be changing my name back to Techno Eclipse here pretty soon. Just got a few things in the back end to deal with. I'm going to be making a new channel that had all of my sort of self-development stuff that didn't relate to tech on. I think that that just makes a little bit more sense. I've done a little bit of testing, and I think that that's what ultimately makes the most sense. The new channel will be linked down below. I don't think I have any videos posted on that just yet, but you will see some of my older videos posted up there because I do think those videos still have value, but just not on this channel. So thank you guys for watching the video. This is Scott, and almost with Techno Eclipse. If you know, you know. Peace out.